And the guy was one guy who was notorious for telling people that COVID-19 was nonsense. He is dead now.
Okay, I saw that.
You saw that story?
3 days ago.
Yeah.
Mm.
So these are the things. If you don't know, you see, the first thing, let me tell you, if you go the way Nigerian people are going, the Bible is contradictory. If you don't understand the bird mass, this one must come before this one must come before this one happened before this one, you will think the Bible is contradictory. So the essence is what started the discussion. Rendo Omokri, a political analyst and a pastor, said something about Chris Okotie. That is what we should be focusing on. Not everybody coming and trying to show how lettered they are. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here and I'm seeing scriptures that are punching holes inside all their arguments. Oh, am I not making sense, my darling? Me, I am officially tired. Let's just take one more call or two more calls so we have it balanced. And please keep it at 30 seconds and don't fight. Nobody is fighting with you. Just keep it polite. Don't fight.
Okay. Please turn off your radio. Oh wow. Hello. Okay, better. Yes, we can hear you. Good evening. Daddy freeze.
Go and meet them and tell them that it's nonsense. Ah.
Okay, can you summarize that? We're actually almost out of time. Yeah, can you just summarize it? Okay. Hello? Hello?
Yes, Adobe. Okay.
Hello?
Adobe, I'm here. Oh, can we just do something?
Okay, it's off. I don't know. Call back if you can so we get the final point. Yes, I think I can hear you.
Yes. Not one human being can be 100%. I understand where the last gentleman is coming from. Not any human being on earth can be 100% right when it comes to the word of God. Uh, we've got to be very careful. They sell this narrative: the letter killeth, but the spirit gives life. If you don't understand what Paul was talking about, Paul was not talking about reading books academically or reading the scriptures academically. Paul and Peter and Christ read the scriptures academically. The scriptures were written in Hebrew for the most part. And for you to read Hebrew, Hebrew was like the language of the scholars. Most people spoke Aramaic during the time of Christ, but read Hebrew. Like reading Yoruba is different from spoken Yoruba. If you understand Yoruba, you see when you write it, it's more scholarly. So there's a certain level of, there are people who speak Yoruba fluently but can't read it or write it. Do you understand? So what I'm trying to say in essence is, first of all, you have why we need to scrutinize everything is a lot of things were added and subtracted to the Bible from the time it was put together as a book, or quote and unquote as a canon, around 323 AD in the Council of Nicaea. A lot of things were added simply by translating from one religion to the other. When Jerome translated the Vestus to the Vulgate, and when if you read the Septuagint and the LXX, you realize that they are totally different from what the Bibles you have today. Absolutely different, sometimes miles apart. So if you're not ready, if you believe that you want to start using the Spirit of God, you will be misled. Because many people think they have the Spirit, actually do not have any Spirit. It's just their imagination. When Paul was saying the letter killeth, he was talking about the old law, and the Spirit gives life. What was the Spirit? The new law. Go and read these things well so you can have understanding. I do understand, however, that nobody is 100% authority on these things. I accept that. However, Like I said, we're advised to dress modestly. Look at this generation we're going into. They are not naturally modest in any way or form. So it is hard. I deal with the reality of life, not what life is meant to be. Do you understand? And if you remember when you're in school, they'll tell you that the person that does well the most in school is going to be rich. All right?
Yeah.
There's one of my secondary school classmates. I went to his house. I took a picture with his house in Canada. If you see this guy's house, it's like not a palace, a castle. If you live in Canada, you know what it means to have a 3-car garage. That you have a garage that can park 3 cars, because their garages are closed inside the houses. He wasn't one of the most brilliant when we were in school. Life just worked out. He was smart. He might not have been so book brilliant. Of course, he was not one of the people that we knew as the Olodos of the school. We knew the school Olodos. He was not one of them. But we also knew the Tolus that were there were 2 boys called Tolu. The 2 Tolus. They were clearing the whole school. I don't know where those ones are. I'm not saying they're doing badly, but I don't know where they are. The main people we are hearing of that are doing exploits were not the most brilliant. So life has a way of playing itself out, and we need to adopt that to our reality. I have young children I have a daughter who's about 4 years younger than you, Ada. And sometimes when I sit down with them and I talk, and they talk, I can sense the confusion. I can sense the age gap. I can sense how do I put it? It's like a world apart. What they see and fascinates them is not what we saw and fascinated us. Now, how do you reconcile this generation with the scriptures? You're going to lose them. They're not going to listen to all those things you people are saying that I should call. Especially when, do you know that even things like, my daughter had a debate with me one day about premarital sex. She just brought it up one day. And as I was showing scriptures, because the Peking too sabi scriptures, she'll fall me here, say, here, what about this? Was it Christ that said it? How did this apply? This, that. At the end of the day, between me and you, I had to go for a refresher course before I could come back and answer my daughter. That is how smart this generation is. You're spending all your money sending them to the best schools, and you expect them to come and mumu. So they're going to question you. They're going to ask, okay, so why can't I wear my hair? Why must I remove my hair to pray? Okay, Paul was the apostle to the Gentiles, like this gentleman said. Not entirely. If you read Acts chapter 10, Cornelius was a Gentile, and Peter was the one that was sent to his family. So yes, Paul did more of the Gentile work. Does not mean Peter too did not do Gentile work. Oh. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, one of the beauties about our faith, you see, Islam is like a textbook. Everything down to how you do naming ceremonies inside the Quran. If it's not in the Quran, you will find it in the Hadith, which are the lives and teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You will find them there. There's nothing that a Muslim practices today that is not either in the Quran or the Hadith. But you see, our own is, how do they say it? Is an entanglement. Is open-ended. Everybody come add their own. Everybody come add their own. Everybody come add their own. And what we have found out that leeway that God gave us is not being put to good use. It's just being exploited. And at the end of the day, we are drifting more towards paganism than towards God. And one thing I'll always warn you about is the hypocrisy that comes with, let's do this thing like a religion. Let's do this thing like a religion. If you follow the words, that's why at the end of the day, you have to leave Paul and Peter and start following Christ though. Because Paul and Peter tried to create a religion. Christ will tell you that lying and adultery are the same. Christ will tell you that looking at a woman is already adultery if you look lustfully. So that cuts out, you see, adultery according to religion is the person that they caught in bed. God does not need to catch you in bed to know you committed adultery. All he needs to do is see you looking at Ada Omaleko's Instagram handle and say, That's all God needs to judge you. Meanwhile, you're not going to go to jail for looking at Ada lustfully, but you could go to hell for it. Do you get? So that's the difference between our faith and hypocrisy. You will meet different you see, if the message is really for the Gentiles, you will meet different types of Gentiles. You will meet Christians who are nudists and will tell you that they are naked, and that Adam and Eve were naked in the scriptures when they were originally created. I've met nudist Christians, and I've sat down with them and I've discussed with them. So at the end of the day, let us teach what the Word of God is, primarily focusing on the Word of God, not on a preconceived way of life that we try to superimpose from 2,000 years ago into today. I cannot superimpose my generation into my children's generation, let alone my father's generation into their own, let alone 2,000 years ago into their own. It will not fit. It will not work. A certain young lady came to me one day and said that she's a Christian, but she's woke, and she wants to be doing her videos, her YouTube videos, without her bra on, but she'll just wear her top because she believes that it is wrong for women to wear bras, that bras cause cancer, bras do this, bras do that. She wrote plenty. At the end of the day, when she was done, I kept quiet. I didn't know what angle to come from without sounding like a hypocrite. So I said, okay, you know what? Let me get back to you. Let me pray about this. Let me think about it. Let me study about it and come to you. Because these are the kind of questions you're going to be facing in 2020. You can't literally tell anybody what they can do again. That year has passed. Now people will tell you that, hey. And that brings us to today's real topic. Even though we're running out of time, but I know Omeleko is going to give me some time to sell my own echo. So, Pastor Adeboye made a statement about how his wife prepares his meals and serves him. And of course, he quoted scriptures and all that. And the way Baba started trending on Twitter, as in Pastor Adeboye was trending at number 1. I went there, and a lot of people were speaking very harshly to him, and I'm like, okay, let me see what Baba said. When I listened to it, I was like, there's nothing he has said that is wrong. This is the wisdom of their generation, and it works. But I understand that it will not be received by the coming generation, because the coming generation has a different understanding. And if you listen to the coming generation, they also have their points. Our women have also been relegated to kitchen duties. A certain president spoke of his wife as her office is in the kitchen and in the other room. That's a whole woman. She begins and ends in the office and the other room. I mean, the kitchen and the other room. So, what Pastor Adeboye is saying is right. What the woke people are saying is also right. I'm not saying the woke people are wrong. They're also right. How do we now marry these two gospels? The gospel of a woman being a decent, responsible wife, And the gospel of a woman still being an African queen, because we don't have African queens anymore. We don't even have African Nigerian female governors, let alone Nigerian female president. America, as they are the what is it called of the world, they've never had a female president. The greatest departure they had from a white male president was a black male president. Finish. That's America with all the liberalism and everything they preach. So in today's world, how do we marry an African queen with the roles and responsibilities Pastor Adeboye was speaking about? That is where I see the dilemma. Somebody said, Daddy Freeze, you know, I did a whole video about it. And people were saying, Daddy Freeze, you've not said anything about this. You just were in between. You did not take a side. I'm not going to take a side. I shouldn't take a side. Because really, there's no side to take when two people are right. Do you understand? Yeah. It's 50 cents and half a dollar. I'm holding 50 cents in my hand. I say, Adeboye, what's in my hand? You say half a dollar. I look at, who is here with me again? Let me look for somebody online. I look at Windecar here. I say, what's in my hand? You say 50 cents. Which of you is wrong? None. Which of you is correct? Both. I look at the wall clock. I say, what's the time? You say 9:30. I said, that was the time. You say 9:30. Is anyone wrong? Now, if you draw the number 6 on the ground, if you are coming from the top, it will look like 9. If you are coming from the top or from the bottom, it will look like 9. If you're coming from the top or whichever way around, it looks like 6 to some people and it looks like 9 to some people. I understand that the liberation of feminism was not born without the necessity for it. Somebody should tweet this. The plight of feminism was birthed by the necessity for it. If it wasn't necessary for there to be feminists, they will not exist. Feminism did not start because some people were cute and felt that, oh man, a woman should be. No. Women have been downplayed. The Queen Amina of Africa, that was a queen at the same time Queen Elizabeth I was the first queen of England, is no longer the narrative today. Cleopatra was a queen of Egypt. Our women were forging alliances that were stronger than men. It's the last 200, 300 years that has been the confusion in Africa. Our women were not cooks and cleaners. Our women were queens who were, if you read the history of South Africa, you see strong queens. Take a look at even Winnie Mandela. Do you think Winnie Mandela was a cook in the kitchen, scrubbing dishes? Have you read about Winnie Mandela and how powerful she was? Of course, yes, she did so many things that a lot of people consider wrong. But she was a formidable force. Same thing with people like Queen Moremi. And there's another queen I read about in Ghana. Very powerful women. So I understand the need for that rebirth. I understand the need for our women to be woken up from that slumber. My daughter is not any man's baby making machine, any man's cook, or any man's dishwasher or house girl. But I now also understand the wisdom in what Pastor Adeboye was saying. So my question to this generation is, how do we marry the two? I don't want you to come and tell me that feminism is bad. Feminism was born because of your wickedness. How do you cut off the most sensitive part of a woman's reproductive organ, that part that brings her pleasure? How do you cut it off to stop her from being promiscuous? That's Africa for you. And that's what Africa did to our women. And countries where women are relegated are never progressive. Just go and read the history of the world. Women need to be at the foreburner. When Christ first resurrected, he had 12 disciples. He showed himself to Mary while the disciples were praying and told Mary to go and give them message. That to me is the most profound gospel in Christianity. While they were praying, he didn't show up to them. He showed up to Mary. So these are very important things that we're neglecting. And the discussion is, how do we marry the wisdom of Pastor Adeboye with the necessity of modern day feminism? We cannot say any one of them is bad. Extreme feminism or misunderstanding or misconstruing what feminism is bad. Feminism means, to my understanding, equal rights and opportunity and a reward system for both men and women. Meaning, if I work 6 hours a day and my wife works 6 hours a day and we both have the same qualification and we're both hired the same time, she should not earn less than I earn. She should not be stopped from getting a promotion because of her gender. Now, if her gender creates a disadvantage, do you understand what I'm talking about? For instance, if men are stronger than women in a particular field, then it's totally different. Am I making sense?
Yes, I can hear you.
Feminism is not women trying to manipulate their husbands and sitting at home and making men do the work. No. If you also want to push the feminist agenda, you have to realize that if you are driving on the street and you have a flat tire, the two of you must come out. You're not going to sit at the back of the car and cross your legs. That's not a feminist. A feminist is someone who is ready to be equally yoked with a man. So let's open it up for discussion. Noble said, like football. For instance, in sports, you cannot have a team of women against a team of men. It is most likely that the men will outrun the women. You cannot, let's leave football. Let's do boxing, for instance. Go and bring a woman and tell her to face Mayweather or Tyson. A woman cannot even bulk up like Tyson did, because it is not in a woman's constitution. If she bulks up like that, she can't have that much muscle. And if she has that much muscle, she can't be as fast as Tyson is. So sometimes, yes, there will be gender-based discrepancies. Also, a woman gets pregnant. A man, now in countries like Europe, in continents like Europe, both male and female share everything regarding childbirth except the pregnancy. Both parents go on, the father will go on paternity leave, the mother will go on paternity leave, and the father will go on paternity leave to take care of the child. The two of you raise that child together. So when she does the first 3 months, I think that's how it applies in Romania, I'm not 100%. She goes for the first 3 months or so. Then the husband too goes for the next 3 months. So the woman goes back to work. She's pumping her breast milk into a bottle. And the husband is sitting at home and feeding the baby. Do you get?
Oh, nice.
So a lot has changed from that dispensation. And we've got to be very careful. That is why I say that if you do not understand the scriptures, because whether you like it or not, the Bible is a sexist book. You've got to deal with that fact. Christ is not sexist, was never sexist, but he lived in a sexist time. And the fact that he lived in that sexist time, the scriptures themselves were written in a sexist manner. That is why, for instance, according to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, if a man forces a woman against her will to have sex with him, the man must marry the woman. The woman's consent is next to nothing. How do you live with your rapist? If you also read the feeding of the 5,000, it is said that 5,000 men were counted, not counting the women and the children. So we don't know if it was 74,000 that he fed. The only head count they did was of the males, and that's sexist. Whether you like to admit it or not, whether you are going to shout on top of your head and say that the priest does not know Bible, you cannot ignore the truth. Even if you read the book of Genesis, the beginning, the lineage of these people, women were not counted. They mention his sons, hardly ever mention the daughters. So let's open up the phone lines, and I think I'll just relax and allow people to talk and say their mind. I won't even interject much. But hey, what's your take? Let's discuss.
Absolutely, 0700 993 993 993. 0700 993 993 993. Hello. Good evening, sir. How are you? Okay, Mr. Jerry. Okay.
Adeboye,
Yes, please.
um, you see, this is one of the reasons why I don't like talking. There is a point that I was trying to establish, and then we'll open up the phone lines. First of all, we have closed Chris Okotie's matter. Chris Okotie came with an opinion, but you see, unfortunately, you might be entitled to your opinion, you are not entitled to your facts. Chris Okotie did not base his opinion on any facts. It was just an opinion. It's like somebody coming to say God is a woman. It's an opinion. But what are you basing that opinion on? You cannot compare what Pastor Adeboye said to what Chris Okotie said. And you saying that Daddy Freeze has been ridiculing pastors. Hello, who brought it upon the pastors? Me? Do you think this generation is not tired of the lies and deceit of religion? Especially false, manipulative religion that is entangled with politics? So I'm not saying anything. People should I will just keep quiet from now on. Please, the only thing I will say is that anybody that goes to the old topic, just please bring them back. Because that way we end up not doing much. So please, everybody, feel free to talk. But just remember, we're talking about feminism. We're talking about how do we marry. That's the topic. It's not about opinions. The question is, understand the question before you call. So I will not need to be interjected. How do we marry feminism with the wisdom Pastor Adeboye raised? Finish. Beginning and end of question. If you cannot keep to those things, don't bother calling. Let other people call so they can talk. I want to also hear comments and opinions. I try. Oh yeah, let's go.
Okay, 0700-993-993-993. Who was sending your comments? Via the WhatsApp number 0809-597-5805. Hello? Hello? Yes, good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing, sir? Okay, my darling Ada, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to answer that question because we have, um, let us all obey the rules. Since you people want me to obey the rules, Ada, can you hear me? Since they want me to obey the rules, we might as well start with all of us obeying the rules. Abi? The rules are, the question for tonight is, how do we marry feminism with the wisdom Pastor Adeboye raised? That's the $1,000,000 question. He raised a lot of wisdom. Do you agree? I agree that he raised wisdom, and I also agree that there's wisdom in feminism. How do we marry the two? How do we teach our children how to be queens and at the same time be able to be decent women who will make decent wives? Anything beyond that scope, I will not take. Please, that's the scope of our discussion. Let's keep it within that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Hello? Hello, good morning.
Hmm.
Okay.
That was a refreshing call from Moses.
Yeah.
So we are sticking to the topic. Beautifully said. However, one comment I have for Moses is remember that your wife is going to carry 9 months of pregnancy that you are not going to carry. So that should also be factored in. It should not change the narrative totally. Since I'm the one that carried the pregnancy, I will not do tire.
Yes, hello, good evening. Good evening, sir. Oh, good morning. What's your name? All right, yeah. Everybody, what? Okay. Okay, Jeff. Jeff, can you make it? Okay. Please make it brief. You're out of time. Mm-hmm. All right.
Hmm.
Hello, good morning. Yes, we can hear you. Good morning. Sorry about that, ma'am.
Sorry, we have a lot of people calling us at the same time. Okay, Ada is going on. Oh, it's too long. Oh, it's 30 seconds. Oh,
Okay. All right. You've spoken for over 4 minutes. Okay. But we have to allow one person to contribute. Okay. All right. Okay. So sorry about that. You actually spoke for about 5 minutes.
about 5 minutes, and these are, you see, this is my problem. They will call and say that the freeze is talking. They are not talking. We've allowed them to talk. They say 30 seconds. If you do 1 minute max, 1 minute 10 20 seconds, you pass your message across. If you keep on going, you will miss it.
All right, let's take more calls. Hello. Hello. Was you, please? Hello. Good morning. Hello. Hello. Good morning. Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, Sam, please go ahead.
It's okay. He has spoken for more than 30 minutes. I mean, 1 minute. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. You are totally missing the point of feminism. And are you there, Ada?
Yes, I can hear you.
He has totally missed the point of feminism. Imagine the point he's raising. How many women have called? I'm crying more than the bereaved. Yes. Should I not cry for my daughters? In other countries, they have women soldiers. The fact that Nigeria has not developed to that level, whose fault is it? How many women have called? It's not easy to get through to the phone lines. If I were to open my social media portals, you'd see how many women would be willing to talk about these. So we've also got to be very careful. And I'm sorry, but I'm disappointed in the thinking of the last caller. There is order in heaven. Okay. One thing with Christ is he broke a lot of protocols. Why did he appear to a woman first before he appeared to his own disciples who were men like him and praying? Why did he, in John chapter 4, preach a message to a Samaritan woman who understood him, but his own disciples did not understand in John chapter 6, 2 chapters later, to the point where 60 people deserted him, 60 of his male disciples deserted him. Meanwhile, a Samaritan woman went to bring a whole town to him. Where is this protocol? You see, once you introduce religion, that's where it brings protocol. There is order. Sambisa Forest. The men in Sambisa Forest, how far have they achieved? What if you maybe if you sent women there, Boko Haram might have ended since. There's order. There's order in Nigeria. Yes. What has our order given us? Nothing. So don't come and rubbish the idea of feminism. I will not take that from any caller. Because I'm not rubbishing the wisdom of Pastor Adeboye. Have I in any way undermined the wisdom in what he said? Absolutely not. But I'm also not undermining the wisdom in feminism. And my question is, how do you marry the two? You are here telling me I'm crying more than the bereaved. You have to also learn to watch your mouth and contribute meaningfully to a topic. I'm not asking you what your opinion is. I'm saying, how do you marry the two? Because whether you like it or not, feminism has come to stay. And whether you like it or not, the wisdom of our elders is also valid. If you are not ready to marry the two and have a hybrid, what you are going to do is you are going to lose the wisdom of the elders. Because this generation is not going to stick to the wisdom of the elders. Let me warn you. It's going to follow feminism because that's where the future lies. So what I'm doing is I'm actually protecting the wisdom of the elders by giving it an opportunity to be bred with the wisdom of today's generation, which is what they're going to swear by. Whether you like it or not, women have started having a say in every country. And there is no time it will not come to this country. So prepare yourselves for this. Let's take one more call, and please, that caller should face the discussion. How do we marry the two? Not telling us ridiculous nonsense like I'm crying more than the bereaved.
Sorry, please, but when you do call us, try as much as possible to turn off your radio set or cut you off. 0700 We're taking a call and then see if we can squeeze in some WhatsApp messages before the call is around. Hello? Hello, good morning.
First instruction, reduce your radio. First instruction.
Hello, good morning. Okay.
What's up, Topizo?
Okay. One lucky last caller. Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir. How are you? Okay, good morning. Welcome to the show. Okay, we're talking about
We
familiar.
are talking about how you marry family. You see, this is the problem. We are talking about money in the central bank. You are telling me about the River Niger and River Benue flowing together. This thing where you dey talk, what does it have to do with what we are talking about? Can you face, is it so hard to talk about a topic?
We are actually asking how you married them. We want to get your own opinion, not what people think of what he said. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Good night. Thank you very much, Ada. It's been quite interesting. Have you seen the same people that accuse me of doing something? Have they themselves been any better? Ada, I put it up to you. Have they?
Mm-hmm.
We have a topic. Let's stay with the topic. Um, I have a lady who just joined in, but before I bring her on, while she's still sorting herself out,
Okay.
I want to just say something very quickly. Um, like I said, if you watch my video earlier on, every man has the idea of what he wants his marriage to be, and every woman has the idea of what she wants her marriage to be. So if I like oranges and I meet Ada Obi that likes oranges, we're all well and good. Do you understand?
Yeah.
What Pastor Adeboye says actually works in my union, because my woman feeds me, takes care of me, maybe not going as far as trimming my nails for me, but uh, she oversees a lot of things in my life. Why don't you do this like this? Why don't you do that shirt? Don't you think you should change it? You understand what I'm telling you? She has a say. There are many times when I'm dressed up and I'm going out of the house, I'm like, oh, come back. Hey, what is this that you're wearing? No. You can't go out of the house like that. So, yes, to a large extent, our women are like our mothers sometimes. So, I understand the wisdom where Pastor Adeboye is coming from. There's just one problem. Many people do not see the wisdom that he is saying. Instead, they use it as oppression. understand the wisdom because my mother is a vice chancellor of a university. She has a leadership position. And she also cooks for her husband. So I can understand where he's coming from. Some people are bus conductors or petty, lowest level civil servants whose wives have the potential of doing better than they are, but they will say, no, 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 I am the head of this home. They say, you must listen to me, you must cook my food, you must do this, you must do. Do you know, sometimes when I see that Taste Buds is very busy, fine, I don't do that now because I'm working from home. I call, have you cooked dinner? Because sometimes she's catering to a 500 guest event. So she's not going to literally have time to boil my own rice. I say, baby, sorry, we've been okay, let me buy suya. Okay, let me buy bread. It was religious. What do you need me to buy on my way home? 70% of the time says, no, don't worry, I've sorted it out. Can you buy asun? Let's make noodles. You guys only see the grilled catfish and the grilled lamb days. You don't see the asun and noodles and quickly boil an egg to go with it. So I will not tell taste buds, no, you must. I've never. Sometimes I ask the kids, was there, I'm hungry. And there's nothing. Mom says she'll cook for you. You've got to understand to be able to strike the balance because there's wisdom in what Pastor Adeboye said. But some people are not going to take it as wisdom. They are going to take it as a tool for oppressing women. And then the feminists are going to stand up and say, no, we reject the oppression. Am I making sense, Ada?
Yeah.
So how do we marry the two? Ada, would you want to live in a house where your husband is oppressing you?
Of course not. I wouldn't want to oppress him, so why should he oppress me?
Good. So that balance, that love, of course, if you're a romantic woman, you would want to braid your husband's hair or comb his hair. Do you understand? Or cut his toenails. Do you understand? You do a lot of those things to make the union beautiful. Yemisi here says, my husband prefers to cook. These are the things we need to discuss. Like I said, it's 9:30 or 9:30. We're both saying the same thing. And you guys listen to me. Feminism and the wisdom of the elders must be married. If not, the wisdom of the elders will be the one to fail, not feminism, because that's the agenda. Abiada, I hand over to you. What's your take?
Oh well, feminism. I'm actually different. Because if I say something right now, they'll be like, oh, that the food is influencing you. Well, I just see.
Say it as your mind is saying it. Don't let anybody harass you.
That's the thing. If I am comfortable living this way or doing this thing, that's me. The fact that I am married to you does not mean you're going to subject me into what I am not used to. And same goes to the man. So I really don't see any big deal in what he said. If she's doing that and you're married to going on well, then fine.
Fantastic.
With the tag or I'm a feminist, that didn't go down with me. It's your choice, man.
People are saying, Ada talk. Anyway, lovely hanging out with you guys. We've overshot our time by a wide margin, but of course, it's not my fault. We started late, which is also not my fault because we had a sports show and then I had to wait for the sports show to finish. And I don't mind waiting because I know that when I come, my own turn is always very hot. Aviada. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for listening. The future of the feminine child lies in marrying the wisdom of the elders with the wisdom of feminism. If we're unable to achieve that, we will lose greatly. God bless you all. Thank you so much, Adaobi. Marriage is teamwork, and it takes the teamwork to make the dream work. Marriage is not an autocratic rule where one man will sit on top of a woman's head and be dictating for her. You will not get the best of that woman. God bless you guys. Take care. I'm out.
We'll do this again tomorrow.
Bless you guys. I'm off.